Summer is still sort of hanging on here. It's the 22nd of October, and got a beautiful day, blue sky. And I thought I'd make this quick video for you before I head off to the beach. Okay, so there's two things then. So the first one is the end of an important legal principle, which is innocent until proven guilty. So I spoke about this maybe about 3 months ago, because there's a footballer who used to play for Manchester United. His initials are MG, yeah. So I'm not going to even mention that name, because who knows what the algorithm's picking up on now. Anyway, he was alleged to have done. Somebody made an accusation, never went to court. He was tried in the media on the basis of some audio. Now we know with modern AI that could easily have been faked. You've got this deep fake AI technology that can fake not only just audio but video too. And that was it. His football career as a Manchester United player effectively over. In the last, 3 or 4 weeks, Manchester United have lost another player on the basis of an allegation that's been made about him. So again, this guy's career is completely down the toilet on the basis of an allegation. Why is this important? Well, basically what's happened in Britain is that we've ditched a very important principle of innocent until proven guilty. There's another guy that's in the news. He's got like a Mockney accent, and his hands are all over the place when he's talking, and his initials are RB, yeah. And basically the same thing has happened to him. Now some people will say, you're an RB supporter, no smoke without fire, he's a bad un, and all of that. And that may or may not be true. I don't profess to know anything really about RB other than what I saw on the telly when he used to be on the telly, and I never watched him because I didn't think he was any good. He was like a bit cringe. But the important point is that Brits are being groomed into getting rid of this legal principle of innocent until proven guilty, and what we're replacing it with is the ducking stool. You know, with the media says that somebody's done X, Y, Z, therefore they must be guilty, therefore they must be punished, their livelihood must be taken from them, and we won't bother with any of this sort of thing of a trial. The other thing that I've been thinking about, that I have read some articles about this, is the number of cases that are tried before a jury, that they're dropping. You now have these like secret courts, these family courts where a judge just basically makes a decision. There's no accountability at all. The judgment is often kept secret. This is what totalitarian regimes do. Again, I used to be a teacher, so this sort of stuff should have been explained to students, just as, in places like Finland and America where there's a constitution, it should be explained to young people, like, why these things are important. So in the case of Britain, why was it important to have trial by jury? Well, a jury was like 12 ordinary people. You were judged by your peers. So the great benefit of that is that it would circumnavigate any attempt by the rich and the powerful to rig the legal system in their favour. They couldn't do show trials. If you just randomly pick 12 ordinary people and they listen to the evidence and they decide, and the judge does whatever the jury tell them to do, then that's a fantastic safeguard. And we seem to be losing this. We seem to be ditching the legal system. Not only are we ditching trial by jury, but we seem to be circumnavigating the whole legal system. And this is what concerns me about RB, or one of the things that concerns me about RB. Same as this other guy whose surname is a first name. He used to play football for Brazil. I suppose, leading on from the video yesterday, I was wrong. Well, I guess I saw some of this, in teaching. What would often happen, and in fact, I'll tell you a true story. Towards the end of my kind of cricket playing career, I met a guy who used to be a head of sixth form at quite a posh independent school. And a girl made an allegation about this guy. And basically, he lost his career. The girl, withdrew the allegation. I think it went to court as well. This guy was found not guilty. But it doesn't matter because there was so much publicity about this case prior to the trial. No school will touch this bloke again. So his teaching career was effectively ended by, what do they call it? The Court of Public Media Attention or something like that. They have this, and we must say no to this. We must say no to this. And this is another point that I'm going to be, and the point is, it goes back to something else I've been talking about, natural law. So according to the principle of natural law, these evil, insert rude word of your choice, these evil, I'm not even going to call them people because they're probably, demonically possessed, let's say that. They're only allowed to do things, bad things to us, if they gain our consent. And what they believe is that if we say nothing when they inflict whatever they want to inflict on us, that counts as our consent. So if we stay silent about bad stuff, from their point of view, they think that means that we've consented to it. And because we've consented to it, any adverse karmic comeback will not fall on them, the perpetrators. So this is important. So what I'm saying here is that a lot of people are silent about this. We're not talking enough about what's going on, which is this end of trial by jury, and then also even just trials. People are just being determined to be guilty without even a trial, which is, as I say, it's something that totalitarian regimes did, or even they would have a show trial, wouldn't they? Even under National Socialist Germany in the 1930s, they had show trials. Not even they would dare to, deem that a person be guilty without even a trial. But it's happening today in modern Britain. I suppose in the Dark Ages, you had the witch trials, and that's basically what we've come back to. So I guess the other thing that I want to talk about is. Somebody left a comment on my channel the other day, and it was after a video where I was urging people to speak up and ditch the anonymity. And this person incorrectly said, you're a stooge because that means that you want digital ID to access the internet. It's just it's a non sequitur. It doesn't make sense. No, let's, for the record, of course I don't want digital ID. Of course I don't want any of that. You actually can have people speaking up, believe it or not, without the need for a digital ID, and that would be my position. People should be able, in a free society, people should be able to speak without having to have their ID independently verified by the government, which is just a ridiculous thing to say. But what I will say is that people need to speak up, and they need to start talking about, say, these footballers or RB or, other instances, and basically say that it is wrong for people to be to have their livelihoods taken away from them without even a trial. Just somebody can make an accusation, and that means that they're guilty. This is just wrong, and I will say this now, and I'll send this video out to some politicians or whatever, and I will say to them this: I do not consent to this. Number two, I know what you're doing. You're trying to silence dissenters, and therefore I don't consent, and therefore any adverse karmic consequence will fall on your shoulders, because I do not consent to this. The third thing that I want to talk about today is this idea of guilty by association. So I began to see this maybe about 10, 15 years ago when I was working as a teacher. And, there was people that, I'm not going to name specific names, but there were certainly people that I worked with, and they would do this. They would say, oh, a certain teacher, he's a wrong un, yeah, because he believes in this argument, and that's wrong because Donald Trump has said it. I don't know. I'm just making this bit up, but basically they would say this person's wrong because he said this, and that's bad because Emmanuel Goldstein has said it. Some kind of like made up baddie, fabricated baddie. I hope I've explained that clearly. So you're guilty by association. So you might hold an entirely valid point of view, but that valid point of view is made invalid because some establishment bogeyman has also said it. And then some useful idiot has basically recycled that as their own idea and said, well, this person should be cancelled. This person is no good because he's expressed an opinion that some bogeyman has expressed. And basically what we're seeing this with RB. I'm not really interested. He's that bloke with the long hair and who does all of that. He's got 33 tattooed on him. He was somebody's minder, wasn't he? Some stupid pop musician, not used in the loosest possible sense. KP, yeah, not the brand of crisps, but might as well be, for all I care about this person. Anyway, this hoo-ha relating to RB, again, it's just based on allegation, nothing more than that. We've already talked about that. This should be go to trial. If this bloke's done something wrong, you make an allegation, it goes before a court, ideally before a jury, and they decide. That's how things should be done in a civilized society. But what I think's going on here, another dimension, is trying to get this guilt by association going. So at the same time as this hoo-ha's happening, you've got this new digital book burning law that's I'm not even going to mention the name of it because again I'm just worried about this video being flagged. So it's the safety line on, yeah. So it's that's what I'm referring to. So I don't know, if you dig into that, it's pretty scary what they've announced, yeah. And obviously they don't want people criticising this new totalitarian legislation that they've managed to pass. Went through Parliament, so that tells you everything about these members of Parliament, that these people voted for that. Never forget that. Never forget the MPs that voted for this draconian piece of legislation, because these people are authoritarians. There's no other word for it. Would a dictator like total censorship? Yeah, would they want to shut down free speech? Of course they would do. And this is basically what's happening. Too many people have been speaking too much truth. They know they're losing. More and more people are waking up every day, and what they're doing is trying to silence it all. But so they don't want people talking about this new piece of digital book burning legislation and censorship and spy. In Britain, this new piece of legislation means that the Stasi, that they can read your emails, they can look at your all sorts. It's no different from what happened in East Germany. Under the Eastern Bloc. Right, so they don't want people to talk about this. So how are they going to do it? Well, basically, RB is one of the people that they're trying to cancel. And it's all for your safety, you see. So if anyone starts criticising the safety line on, then what they'll do is like say, oh, you're an RB supporter. Nearly said his full name there. you're an RB supporter. So because that's what RB says. So an entirely valid argument that which is that in civilized societies governments shouldn't censor and there should be free speech. All of a sudden that becomes people who say that are going to get cancelled because they're going to be accused of being guilty by association. Oh, you've said that. Russell, I nearly said his name, said that. So therefore, you're like him. And this is what's going on, I think. So how do you overcome this? If I was back at school, I know this bloke. You know, he's the guy who sold his soul. You know, and got a promotion on the back of complying with the peasants pantomime. Yeah, if I was interacting with this guy and I started talking about this is a bad piece of legislation, that in a free society people should have free speech. It's very dangerous for the state to be given the power to decide what is harmful and what is not. He would like to say, oh well, that's what RB says, you must be a bad person, you know. What you actually do is when he comes out with that line, oh, you're like RB, you just say to him like, well, who is RB? What I don't know, you'll have to explain to me who RB is, and I don't know what he said. You know, for me, I don't really, I maybe watched one or two of his videos a couple of years ago or whatever, just out of curiosity. But I don't watch his stuff. So actually, for me, it actually is genuine. I don't really know what RB has been saying over the last 2 or 3 years. I'm not really interested because of his past and whatever. And I've always been a bit suspicious of the guy. And I've certainly never recommended that you watch his videos on my channel. The final thing to say, I always like to finish on a positive. So, because there'll be some people who'll be going, oh, game over, the safety line on, it's game over, it's a game changer. To that I would say, well, think about what the German and the Austrian governments announced, you know, back in, when was it, 2021, that you had to go, they made it a legal requirement that every person over, I don't know what the age was, over 16 or something, had to go and see Britney Spears and the Boosters in concert. Did they? No. So the bottom line is this, friends, don't worry. Governments can announce anything. They can announce whatever they want. That does not mean, that is not the same as it will happen, right? Because at the bottom line is that governments can only do what we consent to, what we agree to, right? So if people say no, when the rubber hits the road and they start to implement this stuff, then I think there'll be a massive pushback for them, and I don't think they'll be able to get this fly. But I think the other thing as well is, for years and years and years, like, I'm 58, so I can remember, they gave it the big one about the West, the free West, and we don't, you know, in Russia, you know, they have censorship and you get locked up for your views, and they don't have proper trials. And so there's enough oldsters like me around who remember this, and you know, these are our freedoms, and I think there'll be enough people who will push back against it. You know, similarly, there was all of these, like, again, I'm going to use code, just very simple, Zero and net, yeah. They've had to roll back on that, so they can make all of these bold announcements and yeah, go ahead. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. If people push back and say no, it doesn't happen. So what I'm going to do with this video is just push this on Twitter and X, and just email it out to these scumbag politicians and basically say to them, I'm really sorry here, but you need to know this, that any adverse comeback from your actions from this safety line on, is going to fall on your shoulders because I don't consent to it, and just make that public. And I think that's what we should all do, is try to communicate as directly as possible to as many people as possible, including MPs, is to say that we don't consent to this. This wasn't this didn't go through a due democratic process. This wasn't in the Conservatives' last election manifesto, and we vehemently disagree with this. And it's not in our name, and we do not consent to it. And I think even doing that will cause them to they won't try to implement it, because although I know, like, there's a few atheists who watch my channel. You might not believe in God and Satan, but I'll tell you this for certain, is that they certainly do, and they certainly believe in natural law. So if we all say we don't consent to this, they won't go ahead with it, because they know that according to natural law, which is what they believe in, yeah, they won't go ahead with it because they know the karmic comeback will fall on them. So yeah, a bit long, bit rambly. Had to like make some code up there backwards, yeah, because there's a lot of censorship. If you even mention the name of RB, you know, Al Gore will just flag it up. So off to the beach, low 20s, late September, fantastic, bring it on, global climate warming change, yeah. Yeah, in fact, you know, I can remember plenty of nice Septembers. Anyway, so God bless. Oh, and yeah, hyvää viikonloppua in Finnish. So have a good weekend. God bless.